Hello, everybody. My name is Justina Swoll from Nuremberg, Germany. I'm intensivist and ECMologist. Thank you for including me to the program, and I would like to thank to Jan Belohlavek, who recommended me for this presentation. So I have no conflict of interest to declare, and I would like to speak about the cannulation in emergency situation for VV ECMO. And what we have to say is that cannulation in the whole ECMO process and management is the Achilles heel of ECMO. To understand the procedure of the cannulation, you have to understand the circuit and its components, especially in the VV ECMO, for example, for respiratory support. And there are two options for cannulation. As you can see, we have a double lumen cannula option and single lumen cannulas. The catheter hemodynamics is the most important issue in this process. And my bottom line is to understand that venous drainage catheter is the site of most resistance in the ECLS circuit because of its low pressure gradient, dependency on intravascular volume, and greater length. It means that the whole ECMO procedure is depending on this venous drainage catheter and its performance. So here you can see how the single lumen cannula looks alike. It can be used for drainage or return. And there are some examples of different cannulas for single lumen cannulation or the bi-caval dual lumen cannula developed by Zwischenberger. It was developed in 80s from last century. So you have the introducer drainage port, two drainage ports on the tip and in the cannula body and infusion outlet. There are some blood flow requirements in ECLS, and it's really important to determine blood flow requirements depending on the age on the patient and its weight. And it's also important to know, for example, the pressure flow curves and pressure drop compared to the diameter of the cannula. This is the picture how to measure vessel size, because the cannula size is in French. It means the circumference of the cannula is given by French, and it means French size is diameter multiples with 3. And for example, 10 millimeter diameter of the vessel is approximately 30 French cannula for a double lumen. So there are some typical percutaneous cannula sizes, like for internal jugular femoral vein. So you can see the examples. And about what is to know about the insertion techniques. So we can perform the cannulation percutaneous. This is the primary technique for adult venous support, and it can be performed by intensivist. There is a semi-open possibility. It's surgically guided percutaneous and open via a surgical venotomy or arteriotomy. This is a traditional approach for cannulation. This is a scheme, a picture, how to perform this. And in this case, also the vessel ligation could be needed. This is what we need for the percutaneous cannulation, how to prepare it. And this is a whole procedure. So we need some dilators, the wire, and we need some assistance from the people could help us around. So this is how the cannula will be introduced in with the wire, and it's a Zeldingen technique. About the visualization of the cannula, there will be some slides, following slides. So my tips for percutaneous technique are: the most important is the guide wire placement can be performed via ultrasound. It ensures appropriate vessel anatomy and a vascular transducer to guide needle. There is a possibility to use the fluoroscopy. It ensures also the guide wire location, and it's recommended for dual lumen cannula placement. And some centers, the echo is also used, also for dual lumen cannula placement, and it's possible alternative for these cannulas. So the guide wire should have no resistance and must feel smooth and float back and forth. Talking about the ultrasound, you can see the anatomy of the jugular and femoral areas. For the fluoroscopy, we have some advantages and disadvantages, and the most one is the important thing is the portability. So we can use ultrasound everywhere, but for the fluoroscopy, you have to bring the patient to the fluoroscopy room, and there is a radiation exposure. So this is a picture how the jugular cannula placement looks in X-ray picture, and femoral cannula placement for dual femoral cannulation. And this is how the Avalon dual lumen cannula looks like moved to the patient. Um, about echo, there are some advantages and disadvantages of transthoracal and transesophageal echography, and differences. And there are some centers, they use both in parallel. It's also helped to identify um, the liver vessels and not to move to push the cannula to the liver veins. Some more tips for percutaneous technique is to avoid the guide wire kinking. It occurs, for example, when advancing dilator, and if the dilator is in the tissue outside of the vessel, it's also the danger of the vessel perforation. To prevent this situation, the patient positioning is important. Long tapered dilators can be used. I try to avoid the rotational motion, and just forward. I use the forward motion of the dilator, and we try to minimize the skin incision, also to avoid the bleeding. This is how the dual lumen cannula is placed and looks like on the X-ray picture. And this is what I was talking about to support the transesophageal echo with a transabdominal ultrasound to see the catheter tip in inferior vena cava. Some tips for dual lumen cannulation as well. It's used for more posterior approach. It's a smoother passage, and it's less angulation of the catheter. And the big push in to advance the catheter should be avoided. Some more pitfalls and their prevention. So what we are afraid of is the vessel perforation, as mentioned before. So using ultrasound, it's ensure the intraluminal placement. Fluoroscopy is, of course, even better to identify misplaced guide wire, especially in the dual lumen cannulas. Arterial perforation, it's the most serious complication in dual lumen cannula. and also wrong vessel cannulation. Wrong inadequate drainage is following of wrong vessel cannulation or malpositioning of the cannula and the same the inadequate cannula size. So some take home messages is to don't to cannulate too low in the neck, especially for the dual lumen cannula, if the angle is too sharp for the big cannula, and use a more posterior approach. Also avoid the upside down catheter and flow direct toward the right the atrial wall. And potentially it can happen there is a more recirculation in this situation, but it defeats purpose of the catheter in this unique design. Also, as we have seen, the cannulating of the hepatic vein should be avoided. This is the picture, what we are talking about the wire kinking as showed by the arrow. And this is the most dangerous situation for the atrial perforation. And this is what we call happy wire syndrome. The wire is just guided very smooth to the inferior caval vein, and there is perfect and correct flow orientation for the outlet and the potential recirculation is minimized. So again, catheter tip in hepatic vein should be avoided. This is the correct insertion depth of the cannula with infusion port outside of the a bit in a long distance to the liver vein, and again, this is an example for the deep insertion depth, and it should be corrected. So of course, in all this cannulation management, the size of the cannula, the length of the cannula, and its position, it aims to maximize the oxygen delivery. It also depends on it's depending on the blood flow, hemoglobin concentration. It should be used with caution, and also the proper gas exchanger sizing is needed. And CO2 removals always exceed O2 delivery, saturation delivery, oxygen delivery during the full support. So this is how we can maximize oxygen delivery, and it's the components which influence this. Commencing support is to increase the pump speed slowly to achieve a maximum flow and to decrease flow to the lowest level to provide adequate support. And this is Jan, how he's performing the ECPR cannulation in 45 minutes using fluoroscopy in his cath lab. And when the ECLS become to the standard of care, if it's also is used in Hollywood movies, and as we can see in Code Black, there was a episode with called corporeal form, and the patient was cannulated for VA ECMO. So this is the end of my presentation, and I thank you for your attention. You are welcome. Thank you.